I'm here with Skinny of Mushroomhead to talk about Call the Devil out August 9th on Napalm Records. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me about the record. How's things going with you?
Things are great, and thank you for the opportunity to do the interview.
So let's talk about the journey, your journey in Mushroomhead. How's that journey been, and how has that journey now finally led you into Call the Devil?
It's crazy when you think of 30 years and 9 albums. There's been a hell of a lot of peaks and valleys, but it's a blessing to just still be creating music and art and sharing it with the world. And I'm really, really excited to get out there and start performing some brand new material.
What was for you in your mind of all these years, like you said, all these decades of playing with the band being around? What are some of the highlights that you've taken from your time with Mushroomhead?
There's been so many, in over 30 years, it's hard to pinpoint. I mean, everything from a lot of the festival touring always comes to mind, that when you think of back early 2000s with Ozfest and late 2000s with, Mayhem Festival or Soundwave Festival in Australia. Those are, things that always stand out just because of the summer festivals they're just really exciting to perform on those big stages and to be able to play with so many talented bands and get turned on to bands that you never saw before or never even heard of, or say you heard of them but you never really checked them out, and then you checked them out one day and you saw them at a festival and then you were hooked for life. I mean, it's really cool. I really enjoy playing those festivals, so those are definitely some of the highlights.
Do you prefer the festival runs versus like a month-long tour?
No, it's hard to say. I like them both. And it really helps to break up the monotony because they're two totally in different environments, from like club touring and theaters to actually being outside every day and being with, like I said, multiple bands and multiple crew people. You're just so many more opportunities to keep yourself entertained and stay away from bad habits.
You know, bad habits die hard. In
They
speaking
do.
of dying hard and perhaps some old habits, not necessarily bad habits. Gravy coming back to do a couple of songs with you guys on this record. How was it with working with him again?
It was amazing right off the rip. The first time we had gotten into a studio together in about 12 years. Most of the time when we started, we just hung out, laughed, and watched shit on YouTube and kind of just caught up. But the first time we sat down and actually pressed record, we didn't have anything planned. He just played guitar and I played drums, and we recorded about a good half hour of us just jamming. And we went back and listened to it, and there's some material in there. It was like instantly we were like, we should make a song out of that. And then that turned into the first song on the new record called Eye to Eye. And just again, it was super spontaneous. We had no idea what we were going to do, but the energy was just there. And, it was just like riding a bike. He and I just walked in, and man, we had magic right away.
Will his contributions continue perhaps in future records? Would you like to have him back in future albums?
Absolutely. That is the plan. We, totally said, whatever, it works with your schedule. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of him. And we're hoping that he can start joining us on some touring, or special shows at least, for the future.
How do you assess the success you guys had with A Wonderful Life? I mean, the album was, you know, everyone enjoyed that record. Everybody has positive things to say about that album. By all means, it is a very successful record. So, how does the impact of that record and the success that it had kind of shape Call the Devil?
One thing that definitely it came out in A Wonderful Life came out in June of 2020. And one thing that we weren't able to do was get out there and play some of that material while it was fresh. We were just totally denied the opportunity to tour just like the rest of the world. So, one of the things that definitely went into this album was just that attitude of how some of these songs could come across live, and when we thought about it as far as with the higher energy, more, a higher tempo, faster tempo songs. So a lot of that, was definitely brought forward just because we were so anxious to play some of that stuff. So when we were writing new stuff, we just definitely thought about playing live.
Now you basically, when you go on tour next time, you have two new records technically to play.
Yeah, there's almost 30 songs to pick through that, we've barely played at all.
There's going to be a ton of material, and as you know, you're not going to make everybody happy because people want to listen to some old shit. You got to play some of the new shit. I don't envy you guys.
Yeah, we were looking the other day. We said album number 9. If you take 2 songs off every record, there's 18 songs. We're going to be here for a minute. So we don't. Sometimes we only play a half hour. So it is pretty hard to pick. But again, we are always excited to play brand new material and just even test it and see, if it goes over like we thought it would. Sometimes we think some of these songs are, oh, that'd be great to play, and then we start working at it at rehearsal, and we're like, oh, this song, maybe the tempo is a little dragged down a little bit. Maybe, let's pick a different one. So we do a lot of experimenting too. Sometimes we'll do a song and we'll play it 2 or 3 times and then never bring it back. It just, how it goes over live and even how we feel.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, a song could sound phenomenal in the studio and could sound phenomenal on the record, but I'm assuming if you guys don't see the right energy from the audience with that track, maybe that is a track that you leave it on the side.
Yeah, and again, sometimes it's the set length and production value. If it's a slower, doomier song, it definitely helps to have lighting and other production value to it. If you're at a festival in the daylight and you only have a half hour, sometimes you don't want to play the slower, more depressing things. You just want to keep the energy going.
I can totally see that. And speaking of keeping the energy going, this new record called The Devil has a lot of energy and it has an overall, I would say overall, not necessarily every song, but overall, kind of a cinematic aspect to it. It almost like a movie soundtrack feel. Was that your goal from the get-go when you guys were starting to work on this record?
Even since A Wonderful Life, I think things started to get a little more cinematic in that direction, and the songs and the structures, the way they flow. Sometimes it's not traditional in the arrangements, and I think that's a good thing. Because it's art at the end of the day. There are no rules, but if you can kind of close your eyes and kind of let it start taking you and almost, hearing, when sound turns into color and then it turns into imagery, it's really an amazing process. But again, with that that much material, um, it becomes hard to like pick a favorite. That's for sure.
And I want to ask you about your drumming, not just on this record, but in general. When you look back at your career with the band, has the band helped you develop as a drummer, or has your development as a drummer has helped the band?
I think it's definitely the band has helped develop it, because a lot of times as a drummer, naturally, I just want to play, play, play my heart out, and I want to put fills everywhere, and I want to blast double bass, and just play. And sometimes the songs in certain spots don't call for all that action. So it's definitely taught me my place a little bit more. The drum should always rock, and sometimes they have their space to be in the forefront, but not always. So definitely, it's definitely taught me quite a bit.
Do you work with the guys when it comes to a record like Call the Devil? Is your work on the drums solely on your shoulders, or do you bring their feedback in when you guys are working on specific portions of tracks?
Yeah, it's all very collaborative. All of us will sit down and listen to it and talk about it and just even break it down. Sometimes we'll have if there's multiple drummers, so we'll actually share the opportunity and say, hey, well, how are you feeling this part? Let me hear what your feet are doing. Now we kind of define the groove where some of the accents, or some guys got better fills than other guys. So sometimes you just want to hear other approaches. Drums are they're an interesting beast. It's such a cool instrument when you think of just a drum by itself, that all the way back to the tribal times, you hit it a few times and you can make people dance, you can make people move. It's got such a cool doomy sound. There's like I said, think of back to the tribal war drums. Drums are just really cool. But yes, we share a lot of the passion around here, and just kind of how they should be. If, like I said, if they're being overplayed or it's too busy, then everyone will kind of speak up. So it's collaborative, very collaborative drumming.
It's funny that you mentioned that about the drums because I have an admiration for drummers because I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you can coordinate your feet, your arms like all together like at the same time. You must be excellent at multitasking.
Sometimes it definitely does feel like I've got an octopus in my brain.
Yeah. Because to me, if I was to use my hands, I would forget to use my feet. And then if I start using my feet, I would probably forget to use my hands. I don't know how, I think drummers have their brains wired differently.
Yeah, that's for sure. They like numbers. They're good math guys for sure. And there's some amazing guys out there that I can watch and I'm just like, how the hell is he doing that? And how does it look so effortless? You know, they're just like blasting through it without breaking a sweat. So yeah, there's so many great metal drummers, just great drummers, period. But there's some metal guys out there that are just phenomenal.
When you are in a band as successful as Mushroomhead, a band that has the legacy that you guys have, does that ruin it a little bit for you as an audience member when you go see another show and you see not just the drummer but the band in general? Do you look at other bands from a musician's standpoint?
You know, I think personally for me, I look at it more of like the whole package, like the show, the presentation. I'm always looking for production value, or even if it's a band I've never heard or whatever, and something catches my attention, like a drum, like the snare drum will just be awesome, you know, and I'll be like, man, listen to that thing crack, you know, like there's always a quality I could find about it because, like I said, I think I look at it personally more as a production thing, you know, lighting, pyro, you know, any sort of extra stage production element. I think that's kind of what I'm always looking for. So it's exciting to see other bands for me.
Speaking about the playing of the festivals and the shows, you guys have a tour coming up. You have some festival dates coming up. Before I ask you about those two things, let me ask you this: what's your favorite Mushroomhead song to play live?
You know, it's really hard to say. Just the other day, we did a festival here in the States called Incarceration Fest, and we actually played our first single from the new album called Fall in Line for the first time, and it was really a lot of fun. So, again, I'm looking forward to playing a lot of this new stuff for sure. Um, you know, and I will say some stuff off of the last album too. A Wonderful Life, the track The Heresy is really big and doomy and it just sounds awesome through a giant PA.
That was my favorite track from that record. From this record is Emptiness.
Right on. Yeah, Emptiness is cool.
What a
Definitely.
cool
That one,
song, man.
yeah, it came out really, really nice and smooth. All the tones are just like creamy
Yeah,
and like it takes you into kind of a different realm again, you know, and it's us, you know, getting out of our comfort zone and experimenting and kind of letting our roots come out a little bit, you know?
yeah. I thought it turned out amazing. I mean, it's a song that really complements the overall diversity of the record.
Yeah, it is very diverse, especially I think that one's early on in the record, and man,
Mhm.
it's got a great hook to it. That one just is very, very smooth. I love that tune.
Oh man, such a great song. Speaking of touring, so you guys are going to be doing a little bit of an East Coast run in October. I'm slightly disappointed, I gotta say, because I'm in Toronto, Canada, and you guys are my neighbors. I mean, you guys are a stone throws away from Toronto, and there's no Canadian dates. Are you guys planning on coming up to Canada at some point?
Yeah, it probably won't be until 2025, but yes, the plan is to get back up there. Absolutely. I mean, it's really not that far. I mean, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I can damn near hit you guys with an egg.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure if we worked really hard, we could probably send a pigeon and we could communicate with a pigeon. I mean, we're that close. You guys are not that far, just a couple of hours away.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, fingers crossed we'll make it up there soon.
And my last question for you is, you guys are going to be performing at Dark River Festival in Finland, one of my favorite festivals. I've been there.
Oh,
Very
right on.
homey. It has it's a community-based festival, and I saw that you guys are on the bill there on the final day of the festival. How excited are you to go to Finland, to a small town in Kotka, to play in this festival?
We are super excited. Actually, have never in our 30 years, it's somewhere we've never been. So that's always a, you know, huge honor and a pleasure for us all at the same time. And you know, every time we get to go anywhere new in Europe, we're always again super pleasantly surprised because you know, not just do they love metal, I think everyone just appreciates the arts a little bit more. It seems to be that way, and maybe because it's like a closer, you know, community vibe. But man, we just a great response usually and just a very, you know, welcome feeling of, you know, like you said, community, man. It's awesome.
I got to tell you this. I spoke with the festival organizer a couple of days ago because we're really good friends, and I was mentioning to him that I was going to be talking to you, and you guys have a new record coming out, and I was surprised to see you guys on the bill there. And he's like, "Oh man, I've been a fan of those guys since the beginning. I still have the first record on vinyl." Like he was so excited. And it's not
Awesome.
every day that you hear that from a promoter of a festival that books so many bands to be that excited about having you guys there and playing in front of their Finnish audience.
Yeah, we know we're super excited and honored to be a part of it. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, we've never been there, so I'm hoping to get to enjoy a little bit of time. I know we are really busy on this next tour. There's like 12 in a row, I think we play.
Try to do some
What's
sauna,
that?
whatever they pronounce it.
I'll check it out.
It's a thing there. It's a thing. I'm sure somebody's going to invite you, so be prepared.
Okay,
Be prepared. It's a trip. I'll tell you that much.
right on.
Skinny, thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate talking to you. I'm so excited with the possibility of seeing you guys play a Toronto show. This record kicks some serious ass. I don't know if you guys call the devil, but with a record like this, the devil better be answering.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. We don't fuck around with him too much.
Take care, man. All the best.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya.